Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jamie, your crafty DIY guy. I am back and I have got a video for you. So this blue dresser here is where I keep a lot of my supplies when I'm working on my projects. And the top drawer is actually devoted to my junk drawer. So literally anything that is a craft that maybe just doesn't go well, or something that falls apart, or pieces maybe like this frame that's left over because I used the mirror in something else. Like anything like this that is left over, that's a project that I tried to make that didn't turn out well. A leftover butterfly from something, but like literally anything that is just kind of a scrap of some kind or something that I think I can use in the future, I keep in that top drawer there. And because we're all so limited right now on, going out and getting supplies and doing our hauls and doing different things, I wanted to do something that was from the junk drawer. So this is what I did. And here's a quick tour of the junk drawer before we go into, all that other stuff about the project. All right, guys, for our first project, I am literally going into my junk drawer and my scrap drawer. I don't throw anything away. So I have these two crates that were left over from a project that clearly broke, but I do have all the parts. So I think I can salvage these for this idea. And then I have these two backs from those, those springtime houses that Dollar Tree had. I busted the back out of them for a different project that I did, and I saved them. So I have these, and they're the same size, so that could be a possibility. I have always random Jenga blocks, and then this is a package of some dowel rods that were left over from a project that I had from Dollar General. The first thing I did was grab my two crates and go ahead and glue them back together. They're kind of rough, but that's okay. The Gorilla Wood glue worked really, really well and held them together nicely. And then it was time to peel these stickers off the back of these Dollar Tree houses. Have you ever noticed that these stickers that you always try to peel off have the most craziest glue on them? I wish I knew what glue that was. Then it was time to kind of figure out my placement of everything and kind of where I wanted to align my crates. Then I just took some Gorilla Wood glue again and just glued them together. And then I set them aside to dry. I also glued the side of the houses onto the toolbox. And now that everything was dry, I could go ahead and remove my Dollar Tree clamps and just make sure everything was good and stable. So then I could start to measure out the dowel rod that I was going to be using as the handle of my toolbox. Now, because tools are so few and far between nowadays, it's important to go ahead and make proper measurements. You can see here where I put that little black line with the Sharpie. I went ahead and did this slightly bigger than what I need because I figured it was better to have to sand it down than to actually have to cut another rod. And I just used my Dollar Tree saw for that. And then I cut it, and it actually was the right size. So I wanted to go ahead and just sand this down and make it as smooth as possible. My cuts are not perfectly straight by any means. Of course, not much else in my life is perfectly straight either. And as you can see here, the handle fit perfectly. I was pleasantly surprised. So I just took some wood glue and just glued it down on either side. Again, just using my Gorilla Wood glue and wiping off just kind of any excess there with my finger. I started to just hold it for a little while, and then I wanted to do some other things. So I just weighed it down with my Gorilla Glue while it was drying. And then once everything was dried, this is kind of what I was looking at. I really think this is super sweet, but it's kind of a little baby ugly right now, so it needs a nice paint job. So I think what I'm going to do is kind of make this look like it's an old, like galvanized metal toolbox. So I'm going to kind of peel away any of these excess papers that might be laying around that my sander didn't get. And then I'm going to take it outside and paint it. Okay, guys, this is my attempt at being like a director of photography, I guess. and trying to get a cool aerial shot for you guys. Clearly it didn't work, but as you can see, I am painting it. I'm using a galvanized metal compound paint. It's actually a spray paint that you use for like a chain link fence, for example. It was a freebie that my neighbor had given me, and I just barely had enough to do one coat on this toolbox. But it actually worked out perfectly, because then I took the toolbox inside and I used some of this Craft Smart antiquing wax. And I love this wax because it's a gel, first of all, so it goes on nice and it covers really well. And then I just took the toolbox and just kind of thought about like where the most wear would be, you know, on the handles, on the sides, on the inside even, and just applied the wax directly on top of that paint. And as you can see here, I'm just kind of rubbing it in on the corners, on the edges. And then I literally would just flip over the cloth and just wipe it away. So when I did that, this is kind of what it ended up looking like in the end. And I thought that this was super cool. Now, here's another trick that I learned. If you take 6 of these Jenga blocks and stand them up like I'm showing you right here, they fit perfectly. Actually, I think it's only 5 of the blocks, but they fit perfectly inside. So if you wanted to put dividers in your little toolbox, you could simply by using some of your Jenga blocks. Now, option 1 for my little toolbox is to store some paints in it. The thickness of the crates is actually about the same size as a Dollar Tree glass candle holder. So it works perfectly for this, because you can put some brushes in it, you could put your favorite paints in it, or maybe the paints that you use the most and very often. Or you could actually use it as a toolbox for your tools that you might grab a whole lot when you're working on a DIY project. And then another option, of course, is to put some flowers in it and use it as a decor piece. It's a cute little toolbox. It looks like an old galvanized metal toolbox that you'd kind of pick up at a thrift store or something. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and definitely subscribe to my channel. Also, tell your friends about the Crafty DIY Guy. And again, thanks for being here. Stay safe, everyone. Bye-bye.